سيئاتهم حسنات وكان الله غفورا رحيما ومن تاب وعمل عملا صالحا فإنه يتوب إلى الله متابا. صدق الله العظيم.
A very warm welcome to all of you from the heart, a typical Sudanese warm welcome to all of you for coming today. We are here in heart of London, very, very central, on Sudanese land, Sudanese premises, on the land of our embassy in London. Why are we here today? We are here today to recognize and celebrate the contribution of some of the members, volunteers who have been to Sudan several times. In fact, any one of you will deserve an award, but there are some people who have been with us for 5 years or more, who had been with us to Sudan 5 times or more, and we thought we better recognize those individuals with a symbolic way of saying thank you to them. The work which these individuals have done in Sudan is a great work. They have contributed significantly to improving health services in Sudan and the medical care delivery over there. They also contributed in teaching, education, and transferring the wealth of the experience they have gained here to our local doctors and nurses, staff over there. Also, a warm welcome to those who among us who are regular donors. Those people have been donating to Salamat for many, many years. And I will mention late Muriel, who had been donating to us at least for 15 years or more. And her daughter Annette, who's with us now, she carried on to do the same thing for Salamat. So a great thank you to all of them, and a great thank you to all of you. I think now we will start the program. Omar Nogut, who is the chairman of Salamat, is going to give you some idea about Salamat. Omar.
Thank you, Prof. Thank you very much, and a warm welcome to all of you, and thank you for the effort you put to come and share with us this night and this dinner and the award ceremony. Salamat is a medical charity which is mostly interested in work in Sudan. Back 11 years ago, it was a small group. Now it's really a big group working in Sudan and visiting Sudan twice a year. There are also some more activities about Salamat, not only the 2 main visits, but we also do small group visits to Sudan in different specialities. And the work now expands to involve a lot of subspecialties in Sudan of the work there in mainly charity work and non-profit. I will try to run through this presentation. It's a long one, but I will try to run through quickly on it. So it's generally, as the word says, Salamat, which is, as you can see there, Sudan and London Association Medical Aid Trust. The group was established as a charity in 2009, and it was registered in UK, and later on a branch was registered in Sudan. So we generally, as any charity group, we comply with the rule of the country, whether in UK or in Sudan. So the general aim is basically can put on transfer of knowledge and education and training to our colleagues in Sudan. So there are, before the division of Sudan into north and south of Sudan, there are a lot of states there which are with the mark of Salamat there we visited, and a lot of them we visited more than one time. So a few pictures which sometimes show what Salamat group they do there, mainly teaching for medical students, and there are a number of medical colleges now in the states of Sudan. This now is a postgraduate teaching in orthopedic, and this our colleague Majid and Professor Kevin Chia, who is here with us, they constituted a small group of orthopedic team who they did really a good work there in Sudan. And during their time of work, the Society of Orthopedic Surgeons was established in Sudan. Best care, we try to do that, and that is in different branches like surgery, eye surgery, hearing aids, and dialysis units, and renal service. Hearing aids, as you can see there, some of the recipients. Endoscopy training also is very important, and colleagues here and a very small group of gastroenterologists who, with their guests, they do a very good work of training and teaching for the endoscopy in Sudan. That includes endoscopy training for doctors and for the nurses and sisters. Eye surgery, the ophthalmologists and the group of ophthalmologists, Mr. Ali Imam and his colleagues. And this has done a very good work that even include some really remote areas and refugee centers. Local news speak about the number of operations done here, and this one in Arabic telling us that there were more than 215 operations which are done. And on the pictures there, a little girl who with cataract, you can see clearly there, they completely lose their vision, and without an operation they're not going to see, and obviously they're not going to have their chance of education and learning. Camps for ophthalmology were done before with guest ophthalmologists with Mr. Ali Imam, and they have done a number of them in Sudan. Specialist clinics in neurology, in gastroenterology, in elderly care, so a number of them. Also, we don't forget the nurse and the sisters and technicians. Before, the main work was actually centered to the doctors, and now we are actually doing this for the allied professionals, the nurses and the sisters and the technicians. Obstetric and gynecology, they do a very good work, and that includes the doctors and the midwives. And for the midwives, there is a course for them, teaching them, training them, and Salamat regularly in their 2 visits to Sudan, they deliver the training to the midwives, and also they give them as gift, midwife bags. Again, laparoscopic surgery training in gynecology, and we can see here our colleague Tahir and his colleagues are doing hand-on training in obstetrics and gynecology. Cardiology, very big work and a good team. They carry with them consumables and all what they need, kits. And as you know, cardiology centers in Sudan, they are at the moment in Khartoum and Medani, and there are also promising centers in other cities around Khartoum. But this now was actually picture from training done in Medani Cardiology Center. So in general, there is a part of the work, the heavy work, and the teaching, the training, and also we don't forget some pleasure and fun for the group who go with Salamat. Some of them are interested in football, as you can see there, visiting one of the big teams in Khartoum, the stadium there, and they mix with the players, they have photos, so they have fun. And Kevin, you can see himself here, these Nile trips there in Sudan. And also mixing with coffee making, local restaurants, having coffee, having tea, making the tea, visiting pyramids in the north of Sudan. So a number of things in the area of pleasure and fun. So what about the benefit and positive things with non-Sudanese visitors? It's a really good message about Sudan, and we haven't seen any of our guests who joined us and said that they don't want to come or they don't want to join again. They normally say that they want to go again and they want to join us in the future visits, and that is good. So what has been achieved so far? We had done delivering medical treatment to the most needy areas in the rural areas of Sudan and remote areas. We also deliver hands-on training for doctors and other health workers, undergraduate training and postgraduate courses, working closely with our colleagues to provide help and guidance for running the health service locally, establish mobile eye clinics and glaucoma monitoring clinic in Al-Fashir. So in summary, the transferring of experience is our goal. Education is also one of our objectives to undergraduates, postgraduate, for the trainers, training the trainers, and for the objective of treating patients. That is not sort of the main thing. We normally try to empower patients as well to know their rights, providing equipment and consumables. So joining local and international institutions, we encourage them to do that, and sometimes we help them on that area, assessing and improving care delivery by actually sharing with them the experience in management and other stuff. So I'm not sure whether, yeah. So what's the future for us? We will continue on the training, the teaching, and education. We try to empower patients to know their rights and to know, and also to teach their doctors there to deal with complaints and not to look at them as negative things. As we do here, we handle them and we manage them. We also try to improve the continuous professional development for doctors, and we try to share with them the roles of the GMC and the regulatory body and societies. Thank you. So in general, what I would say is, so far for the last 11 years, Salamat themselves, they actually gained experience in working in these communities and sharing education and training with them. So it's not only one way, it's two ways. We also share with them and we learn ourselves how they do their work there. So it is a two ways sort of experience and education. Salamat is committed to continue their objective, and ahead of us regularly 2 visits and sometimes more. We did actually collaborate with some other international organizations. There is the International Society for Ultrasound in Obstetrics and Gynecology. And with Salamat, this is now the 3rd visit, will be in November. They selected Al-Ubaid as a center for them to train doctors in obstetrics ultrasound, and from them they will develop trainers who will carry on training obstetricians in ultrasound. Thank you very much.
My great thanks and appreciation to His Excellency Ambassador of Sudan, Muhammad Abdullah. He made all these facilities at our disposal here. We are very grateful and thankful to you. And he is going just to address you for a short welcoming talk.
Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Good evening to everybody. It is a great pleasure, actually, to welcome you all here today. And in particular, actually, I'm more delighted that our embassy today hosts this special event in collaboration with Salamat, this very distinguished organization, which stands as an example of what a group of dedicated people can achieve when they believe in what they do. I'm not going to take much of your time, actually, talking about Salamat. You have already seen glimpses of what Salamat actually does in Sudan. But I will rather recall my personal encounter with Salamat. And that was 4 years ago, when I received a kind invitation to attend their annual meeting. I was so impressed and touched, actually, by what I saw that day in that meeting. Sitting actually in that meeting, listening to the reports which were reviewed, one cannot but appreciate the strong sense of commitment and dedication that you see in every single detail of their work. You can't mistake that level of altruism and benevolence demonstrated by their good work in Sudan. I was thinking of that meeting as indeed more than just a meeting for organization actually to review their previous year or to plan for the year ahead. For me, it was about preparing for a mission of hope and a mission of promise to some of the neediest people in Sudan. In such instances, one can't help asking what makes these people dedicate their leisure time and holidays to such a noble mission. They could simply spend, as I used to say, their holidays in the beaches of Mallorca or Nice or even here in Brighton. But no, they are happy spending it in Ajinena, Dongula, and Sinnar, which are some of the remote areas in Sudan. They are restoring hope and smile to people, actually to the people of these places. And guess what? The stories I keep hearing from them are that they truly enjoy what they do. For them, each trip to Sudan is more enjoyable than the previous. And as soon as they come back from one trip, they immediately start preparing for the next one. Again, sitting in that meeting, I remember saying to myself, how many people in these remote areas of Sudan would have their lives saved, and how many more would have their pains and sufferings relieved and their ailments cured by the deliberations, arrangements, and plans agreed in that meeting. And then you move to ask yourself, how can I support this group? Because you get that strong feeling of wanting to be a part of this great and noble mission. You tell yourself that by getting involved, you get the feeling of belonging to a broader community, a sense of what it means to be a human being. You simply realize your humanity by getting involved. Ladies and gentlemen, what Salamat does makes it incumbent on us to render any possible support to them, to stand behind them, to be part of them as much as we can. And make no mistake, by doing that, we are only supporting ourselves, only serving our people, only realizing what belonging to Sudan means and what belonging to humanity at large means. Thank you.
I think now we will start the ceremony, and we'll start giving certificates and an award. These awards are actually made in Sudan. The certificates are made in Sudan, and you can see how they are good and brilliant. And the first person who's going to receive the award is Dr. Ayube. Ayube is from Sudan. He's one of the first consultants, Sudanese consultant in this country, and he's going to be introduced to you by the ambassador.
I'm greatly privileged to introduce to you a very distinguished member of our Sudanese community who has been relentlessly and silently serving his fellow Sudanese patients in this country and in Sudan. Actually, by the time I arrived here in London in 2008, in my first term in the embassy, Dr. Ayub had just retired from Cromwell Hospital. And as such, I hadn't got to know him personally. However, his good reputation was all over the place when I joined the embassy here in London. Dr. Ayub is one of the first Sudanese oncologists whose contribution and marks on the health sector in Sudan are quite visible. He is one of the founders of Khartoum Oncological Center, one of the first of its kind in Africa, before it was followed by Medani and Chendi centers. Dr. Ayub also contributed to the creation and establishment of other centers in Arab world. So his service actually extends beyond Sudan. I remember how much we had to struggle here in the embassy to handle the medical reports of patients coming from Sudan. It is indeed a cumbersome task to get timely and accurate answers to such a big number of medical reports of patients who are desperately and anxiously waiting to get the feedback. However, one person, I was told, had stood up for that job, dedicating his time and effort to help. For most of those who were at the embassy at the time, they were so impressed by the patience, consistency, efficiency, and the level of commitment demonstrated by Dr. Ayub to get this job done. He used to follow it personally, expediting the process by every possible means. And when the patients arrive here, of course, he was the first stop for them to start their treatment process. Ladies and gentlemen, let me introduce to you Dr. Ayub Bey. Please.
رئيس سلامات دكتور عبد الجليل، أنا أتقدم بالشكر لكم في هذه التكريمة التي أعتبرها تكريما لكل الأطباء السودانيين الذين عملوا معنا في السنوات الماضية لتقديم الخدمات للسودان. وأنا مسرور جدا أن العمل الذي بدأناه بسنين كثيرة, actually since 1985, is continued by Salamat now. And I hope more and more of the young doctors will be involved in this good work for the Sudan. And I assure people of Sudan that although we leave out Sudan, but our hearts are there. And we will not hesitate to do anything that we can do for the Sudan. And actually, my contribution is not that great, as been magnified by the ambassador. It was a little contribution. I hope that as it's appreciated by the embassy and the Sudan, it will be appreciated by Allah and be rewarded for that. I would like to encourage my colleagues in Salamat to continue this excellent work, which is they went a step further than what we've been doing. And if I can be of any help, even at this time of age and poor health, I will not hesitate to help you. Thank you.
We proceed with our presentations of this award, and the next one to receive the award is David King. David King is a scientist. He is an inventor. He is my right hand for the research which we are doing at Broomfield. We published a number of papers. The last two papers, actually, some of the data were from Sudan, which we collect during these visits. His wife, Deborah, who unfortunately is not with us today, she is not well. Deborah had been to Sudan 9 times, the highest number. David had been 9 or 8, and they contribute a lot of work. If you can see them during those visits, they are working from 9 o'clock until 6, 7 o'clock in the evening, non-stop with just very short breaks. Sometimes you give them lunch, which is usually chicken. And always, they used to tell me we're fed up with food and chicken sometimes. So David, he's an inventor. He invented a machine which now is in use for surveying the fistulas in dialysis patient. It was tested in Broomfield, and now he's going to be a rich man because it's going to be commercialized very soon. So David, do you want to proceed and receive your certificates and receive your award? And also at the same time, you will receive Deborah's. Do you want to assure us about her health? Is she making progress? The next award recipient is Professor Kevin Chia. Kevin obviously had been with us several times to Sudan. He did a great work over there. He transformed enormous experience in laparoscopy of the joints, and he's well appreciated and received over there. His colleague Majid Al-Tayyib, who is the pair we used to work together. Majid, unfortunately, is now working in Emirates, and his son Mu'min is here. So Umar and Mu'min is going to introduce Kevin.
Professor Kevin Chia is a consultant orthopedic surgeon specializing in arthroscopic surgery. So the joints looking by scope, like a camera examination to the knee and ankle. He qualified in medicine from Sheffield University Medical School. He carried out surgical training in Sheffield and Derby. His current clinical interest is in the treatment of articular cartilage defects in the knee joint, a procedure called autologous cartilage transplant. This work is carried out in collaboration with colleagues in the Royal National Orthopaedic Hospital here in London, in Istanbul. Professor Kevin Chia is one of a very small minority qualified to perform this special surgery, and presented his work to the Young Engineers of the Year at National Science Week held in the House of Commons. Probably forgot that now. He was a young surgeon at that time. Professor Kevin Chia, he trained in the internationally renowned Robert Jones and Agnes Hunt Orthopedic Hospital in Oswestry, including spending 2 years at the North Staffordshire Royal Infirmary in Stoke-on-Trent. During this time, he was awarded the Lloyd Griffiths Medal for the Best Orthopedic Resident in 1993. He was responsible for setting up the Cloyd and Oswestry Research Tissue Bank, where he held the post of medical director for 2 years from 1994. This tissue bank provides bone allograft for implantation in patients requiring bone graft during orthopedic surgery. At this time, he was also co-opted as an advisor to the UN International Atomic Energy Agency in the area of the use of human tissues for transplantation. Appointed as a consultant orthopedic surgeon to the Mid-Essex Hospital Trust at Bromfield Hospital, where he worked there for 5 years until 2001. He became involved in establishing a link between Bromfield Hospital and the Bioengineering Research Unit at APU, during which time he procured funding to enable the establishment of a postdoctoral research fellowship at the university, and he supervised the PhD students. The visit to Sudan with Salamat. Professor Kevin Chia was introduced to Salamat by his colleague, Mr. Majid Al-Tayyib, our colleague consultant orthopedic surgeon. Together they formed a team for teaching and training in orthopedic surgery, the upper limbs, the shoulders and knees surgery, and arthroscopies. Training courses, hand-on experience were regularly carried out in Sudan. Instruments, devices, consumables were regularly taken to benefit patients and the staff in Sudan. Contribution to the Orthopedic Surgery Society regularly done by Professor Kevin Chia. He support and advise for the trainees preparing for their exams. So this part of the presentation, I will ask Mu'min. This is written by our colleague Majid Al-Tayyib, and he is in Dubai. And he wrote this about you, Kevin. And I will ask Mu'min, his son, he's a young doctor, to come and present that.
It's a great pleasure to have the opportunity to say a few words about Professor Kevin Chia. So yeah, it's been almost 10 years since they went to Khartoum together initially and started the Salamat work. The first mission was in 2008 to the White Nile State. During that mission, they started first ever instructional arthroscopic course for knee and shoulder surgery in Sudan. That mission was to kick off, and it has been followed by many successful missions. The Sudanese people loved him, he loved the Sudanese people, apparently. He was so generous to spend a lot of his valuable time to participate in many Salamat missions, treating people, educating medical and paramedical personnel. Not only that, but in few occasions he spoke to the government and authority personnel supporting medical teams and solving vital logistical issues to support the medical services in the areas that he was visiting. He visited many states in Sudan, north, west, east and central. With Professor Chia, the efforts and contacts, we managed to organise and establish a regular knee and shoulder arthroscopic instructional course for the newly appointed consultants and registrars out there in Sudan. So, as appreciation to his valuable participation in training and developing the modern orthopedic surgery in Sudan, Professor Chia has been invited as a special guest speaker to the SOSA International Conference. He delivered a first-class lecture describing his experiences in Sudan, and that the lecture, he was honest, as usual, and clear, and managed to address clearly and positively the negatives and the pros, and the way to improve things in the orthopedics speciality in Sudan, pretty much. So yeah, there were a lot of photos. So this is a printout of what's going to be up there, really. There's a lot of photos, some funny, some interesting, and yeah, I can't.
For him to see that.
Oh, I'll show them. Yeah. So my dad has managed to find some photos, and you're a gentleman that I used to hear a lot around the dinner table about. Person that my father really looks up to, really appreciates and admires, and.
had no idea what Sudan was like, and of course the first thing I did was just to look in the internet to see what Sudan, and they told me, you mustn't do this, you mustn't talk about politics, you mustn't do this, you mustn't do that. And before I left for Sudan, a lot of my colleagues in the hospital knew I was going there, and they shake their head, Kevin. And says, don't worry, you'll take a begging bowl around the whole hospital, do a collection for your wife and your family. I said to them, Inshallah. But when I got there, it was completely different to what we hear in the Western press. Completely different, okay? And inside the residence where we were based in Khartoum, and where I just walked out within 2 minutes, you could actually see there's a church there as well, okay? And the people, just like anyone that we walk as a neighbors that we have, where we live, they're just like every normal human person. So if we go out there as doctors, let us forget about politics. Put it all aside. Remember our aim, our role is to help people. And quite often I end up my lecture with the paraphrase that medicine is an art which is transferred from one generation to another, regardless of class, creed, color, or religion. Thank you.
Our next recipient of the award is a great friend of mine. We met a long time ago in the 90s. We were registrar at the Royal Free, and he did very well. I did very well. We met again in Chelmsford at one point, and the next one is Tariq Tasaddaq. He's going to be introduced by Umar Nugud.
Mr. Tariq Tasaddaq is a consultant neurologist. His interest is uro-oncology, reconstructive urology, stone disease, minimally invasive urology, laparoscopic urology, and pediatric urology. Kidney transplantation and vascular access is his subspecialty. Tariq trained in Royal Free Hospital in London, Department of Urology and Transplantation. He also trained in East Birmingham Hospital, UK, Department of Urology. He did a senior registrar in urology and transplant surgery. The Institute of Urology and the Institute of Urology in the University College London were also some of his training areas. He worked in Bromfield Hospital, the Institute of Urology, the University College Hospital London, and he worked as a consultant urology kidney transplant surgeon. He's also a lecturer in urology, and laparoscopic donor nephrectomy is part of his work and part of his interest and his guest talks. He made a number of guest talks, invited to them in conferences to talk about laparoscopic donor nephrectomy. Tariq visit to Salamat were to train in urology, and a number of states visited. They received Tariq passion and interest in urology. He's always having that push for the surgeon to train, and he doesn't hide his comments, push, enthusiasm for all around. Surgeons have that. And they push around people in theaters, and Tariq has got a lot of that.
Inshallah.
Urology surgery training for consultants and trainees in Sudan was part of his work. Hands-on training in stone surgery, he did a lot of that in many cities in Sudan. Also access surgery. We made use of his experience to do that and to train the local surgeons for that. He did a number of workshops, and his participation to the Sudan Association of Surgeons as a guest lecturer and in presentations.
and I'm really impressed with the dedication and hard work that this organization is doing. I hope they can continue the mission. Although I have my comments, but we'll keep it for another day. Thank you very much, and thank you very much for the ambassador for all the hospitality whenever I come, especially for the Sudanese coffee that his secretary makes for us. I'm grateful. Thank you.
Okay, we are not only recognizing men, we are recognizing women as well who deliver good work for us, women who participate in great work for us, and ladies who contributed. The person is Islah. She is from Sudan. She did a lot of work here. She is specialized in certain areas, and Dr. Muhammad Muhyiddin is going to introduce her to the audience.
Now dealing with a special character who deal with special people or people with a special need, and from this you recognize how hard to work with people with special need through all your life. So Islah Yunus Abdul Salam is dealing with people with special need here in Sudan. She did a great work, and she trained a tremendous group of people to deal with these people. You see, this specialty is just starting all over the world, but she really established a good work there. She established her own work there, and she trained a huge number of people to deal with these people. So as these introductions, because these people with special needs, they talk less and they usually show less. So you recognize how these people, how experience you need to deal with these people. So Islah, this is type of work, you know that no everyone can do that. It needs special training. You need to spend a lot of time to deal with people with special need. You need double or triple time to deal or to dig in and to get what is the exact problem. And it is very complicated area, because you need to deal with the families, you need to deal with the societies as a whole, and this service is usually is not available in most of the time and in most of the places in Sudan. So this is special consideration for this special type of people, and Islah, she is really did and she keep doing this very hard work through her life. Thank you very much, Islah, and we really appreciate this work which you do, and we need more from you really. Thank you.
بتاعك مختلف من عشان انت سبيشال، عامل لك واحد سبيشال بقى.
Really appreciate the award and the certificate, and بس أقول تسلم سلامات ومزيد من العمل الجميل حقيقة. It's great work. I joined Salamat 3 years. We had great work, especially in the area of fitting hearing aids. And sometimes you feel happy when you see the man or the woman or the child hears. Sometimes you feel emotionally involved and cry when they express their happiness by crying or screaming, shouting. So it's really enjoyable. Thank you so much.
We continue, we proceed, and we are very lucky here to have few ambassadors here. The next award recipient will be Ambassador Abdullah Al-Azraq. Abdullah Al-Azraq, I leave Ammas to talk about him.
وكنت عايز لي شهادة من الملحق الثقافي على سنه موضوع معين. فالملحق الثقافي قدم لي ما قدر استطاعته يعني، وكتب لي خطاب، فكنت مارق برا وقاعد في العتبات بتاعة السفارة، وأنا ما كنت بتذكر قابلت السفير أو تقابلنا لكن ما بركز يعني. فجاء طالع قال لي يا دكتور أنت ما عرفتني؟ قلت له والله ما بتذكر. قال لي احنا تلاقينا في بيت دفع الله الحاج يوسف في الحتة الفلانية، مشكلتك شنو يا دكتور؟ قلت له والله جيت دهت لي شهادة من السفارة تثبت أنه الحكاية دي ممكن تتعامل في إنجلترا وفي السودان ما ممكن. والملحق الثقافي قال لي في إمكانيتنا أكتب لك الجواب ده، لكن ما بقدر أكتب لك غيره. قال لي وين الجواب؟ فشال الجواب ونادى الملحق الثقافي برا وقال لي تكتب للدكتور ده أي كلام الدايره وتمغاه باسمي أنا. اللي زي الدكاترة ديل يعملوا لهم تمثال مش يدون جواب. فدي تجربتي مع عبد الله الأزرق. أنا ما أعرف هل بتذكر الكلام ده ولا ما بتذكره؟ التجربة الثانية كان برضو وفاة والدة زميلنا عبد الجليل، وكان داير يجيها. أنا متذكر المعلومة دي أنا ولا؟ فعبد الجليل قال له المشوار طويل يا سعادة السفير وأنت عزيتني بالتلفون وكذا. قال لي يا أخي مثال أمك جابتك أنت دي، الواحد لو في أبعد الدنيا لازم يوصل لها. فده عبد الله الأزرق. عبد الله الأزرق is born in Gadarif. We have our last mission in Gadarif. We met his family and we have been so generous with us, all the families. He get all his education in Gadarif, graduate from university in Khartoum, and he get his master. Yes, I guess graduate from Umdurman University in Khartoum, and he get his master degree from United States of America, and he work in different places in Sudan, and he work as ambassador, and work on a lot of embassies, Saudi, Kenya, United Nations, China, Switzerland, Bulgaria, UK, Ireland. So our experience with him in Salamat was in UK. When he came, and we find us coming every time, he instruct all the staff in the embassy to give every visitor or every member of Salamat a visa free. They shouldn't delay them. They have to facilitate their work as much as they can. And thank you very much. He's not only ambassador, also he's writing a lot of poetry. And we'll ask him to say something later on, and special occasions. And also he's a writer. He writes books, and it's our pleasure to be here. And thank you very much for all the support given to me as a person and as Salamat. Thank you very much.
Okay, in the name of God, the merciful, the magnificent, I would like to express my deep appreciation for Salamat, and I believe that there is a mistake here. The big mistake. The big mistake is the one or the ones who are supposed to be rewarded are the Salamat people, not me, because I know for sure that my role was really minor. The real role and the real work are done or is done by Professor Abdul Jalil and his colleagues. It was a surprise for me to be notified that I'll be awarded, but it was a great surprise. I'm really appreciating. So thank you very, very, very much. People believe that I'm a poet. I'm not. These are just attempts. In my family, according to Professor Ahmed Babikir, he wrote a book about my family, Al-Majazib, and he counted 53 poets, real poets. Among my people, they don't consider me a poet. Oh yes, لكن الطشاش في بلد العلم يشوف. And because الطشاش في بلد العلم يشوف I have written شيطان امبارح جاني بالمناسبة دي فكتبت كلمتين.
ما شاء الله.
الكونسنتريشن بتاعها هيكون على الدكتور عبد العزيز as a symbol of سلامات، لكن المقصود بها كل زملائه العظام في هذه المنظمة العظيمة. فهي مجرد كلمات بسيطة أعبر فيها عن تقديري، عميق تقديري حقيقة لما يقومون به، وهو عمل عظيم يدير بكل تقدير. فاسمحوا لي أتلو عليكم بعض هذه الأبيات. بتقول: الحمد لله هذا النور من حسمه، ولا توارى عن الأخيار ما احتشما. دنيا تطوف بحلو الكأس في زمن حتى أمنت عليها أدبرت بظما. للمترفين شراب سائغ نضر، للمعدمين هباء يلعقون دما. يا ويح قومي والأمراض ما برحت، تطوف أرضهم بدءا ومختتما. ويؤثرون تراهم لو علمت بهم رغم الخصاصة من أوذي ومن حرم. يأتيك من طرف الدنيا وآخرها ممسه الضر محزونا قد انهدما. يبكي الليالي بسقم قد ألم به في راحتيه، ينال البؤس والسقما، ينال البؤس والنغما. وللدموع هنا همس وحشرجة، شيء يبين وشيء بان وانكتما. جاء السلامات رفقا دون ما نصب، بشراه من أهدى ومن رحم. من يلفظون لذيذ العيش في مرح، فاستبشروا خيرها واستعظموا همما. من معشر النجب من أصل معدنهم، يطيب عيش وتهنى بكم أمما. عبد الجليل جلالا في مآثره، والصحب فاضت كذا أخلاقهم كرما. لا يستطيب لذيذ العيش في بلد وأهله من سقام يلعقون دما. لا يستطيب لذيذ العيش في بلد وأهله من سقام يلعقون دما. فالحر من كانت الجوزاء بغيته، ومن بسلك جليل جاء فانتظما. فالحر من كانت الجوزاء بغيته، ومن بسلك جليل جاء فانتظما. ما راعه نصب أو اشتكى تعبا، فالنجم مقصده لا تلفه برما. ما راعه نصب أو اشتكى تعبا، فالنجم مقصده لا تلفه برما. والبر غايته من طيب محتده، تطيب لمسته من يشكو الألم. فالنجم مقصده لا تلفه برما، والبر غايته من طيب محتده، تطيب لمسته من يشكو الألم. إلى البلاد محاسنكم زفت ونعم بها، كم أزكت النفس كم جرح بها التأما. إلى البلاد محاسنكم زفت ونعم بها، كم أزكت النفس كم جرح بها التأما. هذه حروفي أهديها لكم فرحا، ممن كان بينكم ذاق العلا وسما. وأشكر الجاه في محراب رحمتكم، لا يشكر الله من لا يحصيها النعمة. وأشكر الجاه في محراب رحمتكم، لا يشكر الله من لا يحصيها النعمة. حي الطبيب الذي حي الطبيب الذي أفضال صنعته أحيت مواتا، فأضحى سقمنا نغما. شكرا وتقديرا وأزهارا أقدمها، فالفضل أنت وأنت الغيث حيث هما. السلام عليكم.
People who help Salamat are enormous, but there are specials who always offer an extra mile to Salamat. The current ambassador here in London, Muhammad Abdullah Tom, he's also one of my great friends. We met on business, we met in the AGM, we come for duties, but out of these people, they have a sort of original, inside, good character where we are proud to be part of their friends and their circles. Muhammad Abdullah, he invited Salamat in his house and he provided the dinner for the people who have been to Sudan. That was last year or the year before. And that was just came from him. It was all out of the blue for us when we got the invitation to go over there. That was one of the events which we remember, and we are very grateful to you. Ambassador Muhammad Abdullah will be introduced by our colleague Walid. Our colleague Walid is consultant psychiatrist. هتكلم كلام كتير.
Assalamu alaikum. I'm Dr. Walid, I'm psychiatrist. I have great pleasure to introduce our current ambassador to the United Kingdom for Sudan, Mr. Muhammad Abdullah Ali Attom. Mr. Muhammad Abdullah, as Abdul Jalil said, he's a great pillar to Salamat. He promotes Salamat. He resolves our difficulties for visas for foreigners. And as he said, he invited Salamat and a great help to Salamat. Personal background of Mr. Muhammad Abdullah. He is married. He had 4 children. I'm not going to say the date of birth. Yeah. He graduated from the Faculty of Economy, University of Khartoum in 1986. Then he did postgraduate diploma in 2000, International Relations, Faculty of Graduate Studies, University of Khartoum. He also had a master's degree in Peace and Development Studies, University of Juba, Khartoum in Sudan. Mr. Muhammad is a teacher. He is a high school teacher. He started work in 86 to 87 when he graduated. After that, he joined the Ministry of Foreign Affairs. And I think he had different missions based in Sudan. He went to Abu Dhabi. He went to Oman. It's just one thing I learned today, that 3rd secretary, then you go to 2nd, then you go to 1st. I thought it was the other way around. Yeah. And yes, as I mentioned, he's currently our ambassador here to Khartoum, to ambassador of Sudan to the United Kingdom. And I think without further ado, I'll introduce.
افتكر صورتك طلعت احسن صورة يا Salamat generally doesn't give award to its members, but there are some people who are really special, people who are very passionate on Salamat, people who are opening their doors for Salamat day and night, people who are helping in fundraising for Salamat, people who are trying to recruit more members here and there. We are all working hard, but there is someone who is head and shoulder above us. He doesn't know this, and it will be a big surprise for him. The recipient of the award of today, the last one today, is Dr. Ali Imam.
James Paget University Hospital. He works in South End University Hospital, St. Mary's Hospital, Newport, Isle of Wight. He also works in Khartoum Eye Hospital, Old Church Hospital in Romford, Essex, Worthing Hospital in West Sussex, King's Lynn Hospital in Norfolk. He had his basic FACU emulsification course in Moorfield, the glaucoma and ophthalmic plastic surgery, hand-on phaco surgery training in India. So he went to India to train more in subspecialties. Some of the information I'm giving here, I'm not sure whether Ali is still doing, including exercise. He does regular morning jog. I'm not actually clear on that. And regular swimming. Are you still doing that? His hobbies, Ali is avid reader. He read a lot about of Islamic literature, philosophy, and history books. He got a collection of these. He plays music. Does anyone believe that? The keyboard and the Spanish guitar. I haven't heard about that. Ali Imam joined the medical missions to Sudan since the start of it. And I had the pleasure to do that, the first joining, and the pleasure of knowing him at that time. He continued to provide training and education to the doctors, the nurses, and other allied professionals in the specialty of ophthalmology. He organized a number of eye surgery campaigns in cataract, glaucoma, and retina surgery in different parts of Sudan with his hard work to recruit some of his colleagues in the specialty. He managed to invite and recruit a number of colleagues, whether in his specialty of ophthalmology or other specialties. He continued to provide opinion, advice, and teaching to colleagues in Sudan during and after the visits. And he loved that. So even between the visits, Ali Imam is open to, with the recent social media, to request for opinions, discussions, and he actually created a group for that. He organized and helped in all the UK activities and the AAGM regularly every year, and that is really on his shoulders. He does a lot of work to really make the AGM a success, whether the place or the organization, and even booking hotels for the comers. He did not stop providing guidance and ideas to the Salamat group. Ali Imam, Salamat is pleased to honor and thank you on behalf of the doctors, the patients, staff, and colleagues for the great work you did in your visit to Sudan and in UK. Thank you very much, Ali.
Ali Imam, this award is not just for you, it is for your family, and it is for us, trustees of Salamat and our families. I would like his wife Sausan and his son Aziz to join him to receive the award. To telecommunication مع الفاشر, teaching them and doing everything. So he's highly appreciated.
والاكل الجميل بتعمل زي ده.
بعدين سوسن ما شاء الله يعني لما نمشي بيتهم الواحد بس بحب ما يمشي ما يمرق من هنا كله.
I really don't know what to say. I'm completely taken by surprise, and I thought this takrim is for other members of Salamat and not me. I don't think I have done anything more than my colleague they have done. And I don't want to mention them. All members of Salamat, they have done an incredible amount of work in Sudan right from the beginning. And I don't think I have done any more. I thank you all very much, and I thank my colleagues, and I hope we will be able to do much more to the Sudan than we have done now. Thank you all very much, and thank you, Ambassador, for having us here. And I hope we will meet many, many times. Thank you very much.
جزء من الميشنز بتاع السلامات دي طبعا الناس بتشتغل لحد الساعة 8 9 بالليل نتعشى. الإمام دكتور زول والناس بنمشي نتلم حوله ما ندورنا فارق المجلس ده لحد الصباح، لكن ما بقدر أقول لكم كم بيقول لنا في شنو. Great thanks to Mr. Ambassador for having these premises. Great thanks for his staff, السكرتير الأول، السكرتير الثاني، الملحق القنصل، والشكر الكبير لواحد اسمه محمد عسكر. محمد عسكر ده هو the cook who prepared this food for you. I'm sure you'll enjoy it. Jamal also is the one who organized a lot of things for us. Thank you very much indeed. I hope you enjoyed the ceremony, and well done for all these people who received the award.
في قلبي سلوى الزين عنك وما خطرت في قلبي سلوى الزين عنك وما ممكن أعجبك ياخد خاطري منك وما ممكن أعجبك ياخد خاطري منك أنا عارف خصامك غضبك في كلامك ما من جوا قلبك كله على لسانك مسامحك يا حبيبي يا حبيبي نسيت عليا قلبك عارف وابيض ابيض عارف وقلبك كلك حسنية سلوى الزين عنك وما خطرت في قلبي سلوى الزين عنك وما ممكن أعجبك ياخد خاطري منك وما ممكن أعجبك ياخد خاطري منك أنا عارف خصامك غضبك في كلامك ما من جوا قلبك كله على لسانك مسامحك يا حبيبي يا حبيبي مهما كسيت عليا قلبك عارف وابيض ابيض عارف وقلبك كلك حسنية ظلموني قالوا عني وغيرني الفؤاد ظلموني قالوا عني وغيرني الفؤاد وحياة نور جمالك زاد البيدات وحياة نور جمالك زاد البيدات وأصبح شوقي أكثر حبك عندي أكثر أصبح شوقي أكبر حبك عندي أكثر أملي في هواك نامي لسه أصغر مسامحك يا حبيبي يا حبيبي مهما كسيت عليا قلبك عارف وأبيض أبيض عارف وقلبك كلك حسنية وجورك عليا سيان عندي عهدك وجورك عليا سيان عندي عهدك وجورك عليا تكاد لو تنادي حبك بادي ليا تكاد لو تنادي حبك بادي ليا بترجع ليا تاني تسأل عن مكاني بترجع ليا تاني تسأل عن مكاني تجدني زي ما كنت لايق في حناني مسامحك يا حبيبي يا حبيبي مهما كسيت عليا قلبك عارف وابيض أبيض عارف وقلبك كلك حسنية وحياة نور جمالك زاد البيدات وحياة نور جمالك زاد البيدات وأصبح شوقي أكتر حبك عندي أكتر أصبح شوقي أكتر حبك عندي أكتر أملي في هواك نامي لسه أصغر مسامحك يا حبيبي يا حبيبي مهما قسيت عليا قلبك عارفه أبيض أبيض عارفه قلبك كلك حسنية وأسأل عني طيبك ذكرك بالكون وأسأل عني طيبك ذكرك بالكون ويا بشتقت لك ولقيتك لو تعود ويا بشتقت لك ولقيتك لو تعود وحكتني ابتسامة ابتسامة سما سما عيونك بكلامة سما سما بكلامة تداري في السياقة وتصفح الغرامة وسامحك يا حبيبي يا حبيبي مهما تسيت عليا قلبك عارفه أبيض أبيض عارفه قلبك كلك كل الدنيا سامحك يا حبيبي يا حبيبي 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 حبيبي
Very good. You're very good. Any exercise? Thank you. Very good.